Hi everyone, I'm Richard. Welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Pietta's version of the Remington 1858 New Army 44 caliber black powder revolver. Let's give it a try. Okay, this is going to be my first venture into black powder revolver. I do have a black powder rifle, but I have not done any of the revolvers yet. I got my Pyrex here. I've got some Remington black powder number 11 caps. I got the Prelude patches and a few of the lead balls, nipple wrench, powder measure, and the powder flask. Now the powder flask is already set to 24 grains, which is what this one takes, 24 grains of FFFG or Pyrex P. And we'll put that in, we'll put a patch in, we'll put the ball in, we'll go ahead and use the ram here to pack them down in there. A little catch on the front there, undo that, and you can just push the ball and everything right down in there. You want to make sure it's compressed, make sure there's no air gap between the round and the black powder itself. That could create a dangerous situation. Then we'll put the primers on it and we'll go from there. Let's go ahead and get this thing loaded up. All right, to get the powder in here, all you have to do is, you got this little lever on the side, put your finger over the end of it, go ahead and turn it upside down, flip your lever. The powder will fall down in there, and then your spout will be full of the 24 grains of black powder you need. Now normally after you fired this, you don't want to load directly from the flask, because if there's a hot ember or something in there, it could light it up and set your whole flask off, and that would not be a good situation. This one has not been fired yet, so we're going to go ahead and load directly from here. Otherwise, we would go ahead and transfer the powder into the powder measure. It's got graduations on the side of it, so you can tell how many grains are in there. And we'll go ahead and load the cylinders up. Put the Prelude wad in there. Go ahead and set one of the bullets on top. You'll notice it does not go down in there. It's a little oversized. What that'll do is this ram will push it down in there. It should shave off a little ring of lead around it, and that makes sure that it's good seal, good tight seal around there, so that when the powder does go off, it's got the needed pressure behind it to send the bullet out the end of the barrel. Take the hammer, half cock it. That'll let the cylinder rotate freely. Get it lined up underneath the ram. Go ahead and push it down in there. Make sure it is all the way down. And you can see right there, there's that little lead ring I was talking about. That makes sure that that ball is sealed in there nice and tight. We'll go ahead and load a couple more of them. All right, right now it is still safe since I don't have primers on there yet. But let's talk a little bit about the safety of this one. You can see here in between each one of the nipples there's a notch cut into it. And what that notch does is that allows your hammer a place to rest so that it's not sitting directly on one of the primers. The problem with it sitting on a primer is if you bump the hammer, it's going to go off. If you don't have this pointed where you want it, it's not going to be a good thing. So you can take this, click it between the cylinders, pull it back, pull your trigger, let the hammer go forward, and it'll actually lock the cylinder from rotating. But now we need to go ahead and put the nipples on there, or put the primers on the nipples, and we can go ahead and fire it then. Now putting the primers on the nipple. There's 100 of them in here. They're little tiny things. If you got fat fingers, they're going to be a little difficult to put on. It does come in the set with a little primer tool. They slide in there and they hold in the end there, but this one just doesn't seem to work real well with this cylinder. I have seen some modifications where they cut that away a little bit so it'll let it go in there and work a lot better. But we're going to go ahead and put them on with our fingers. Now one thing I did notice is these primers are probably just a tad too big for this. So if you give them just a little squeeze, not much, just to kind of, make it a little bit smaller, and go ahead and put it on there, and push it down, they go on. Pull it back to the half-cocked position again. Grab another one, roll it to the next one, do it again. Alright, I got all the primers on there. Make sure they're seated all the way down there. We're going to go ahead and put it in its safe position. Get our eyes and ears on. We'll give it a couple tries. Alright, it's all loaded up. We're going to pull the hammer back and give it a shot. 10 yards, little paper target. Okay, one of the things I did notice is that the caps are falling off as I'm shooting. I've got a couple cylinders in there, I don't know, one maybe, that didn't fire, so we're going to go ahead and investigate that, put another cap on it, and get it to shoot. Alright, I found the cylinder that didn't fire, went ahead and put a new primer on there. We're going to roll it around, index it, get it ready to shoot. Alright, here's our target, and let's see what we did. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's one big flyer on there. If you'll notice, I did flinch on the first round I had where it didn't fire. You could see me flinch in that video pretty good. But it looks to me, I mean, I'm only 10 yards away, but it looks to me like it's some pretty good grouping right there, especially if you take your time. I think that flyer was me getting in a hurry. But let's go back and talk about the gun and maybe shoot a few more rounds. All right, here we're going to go ahead and take a close-up look at the Remington 1858 New Army. This one is a stainless model, brass trigger guard, walnut grips on it. I think I said all that before. But the nice thing about being stainless is black powder is real dirty. You can see it's smoked up pretty good. And being stainless, it wipes down pretty easy. It's pretty easy to clean. And to clean all the internals in here, that's a breeze too. Just go ahead and pull your hammer back to the half-cocked position. And go ahead and take your ramrod down. Don't let it go all the way down because it'll push it into the cylinder. Go ahead and take your centerpiece there, pull it back, and then you can take and roll the cylinder right out of the right side. Again, you can get in there and clean it all up, lube it up real good, make sure there's no obstructions in any of the nipples there or in the cylinder. You've got easy access to the bore there. You can get in there and clean it out real well. It's pretty smoky. But it's an easy gun to maintain. No tools needed to tear it down. All right, once you've got it all cleaned up and everything, go ahead and pull your hammer back just a little bit, and you should be able to take and roll it right back in there. Go ahead and push your center back in there. Make sure it's all the way up in, and make sure your ramrod closes all the way. And it's ready to go ahead and reload. Now, like I say, I've already fired this. So one thing I do not want to do is I do not want to load it directly from the powder flask. I don't want to risk setting the rest of this off should there be a little hot ember in there. And the thing about black powder is it can burn for a long time, little bits and pieces of it. That's one of the reasons they don't allow it in indoor ranges, not to mention when you see all that smoke that comes off of there, it really messes up their filtration system. If a bunch of people going in there firing black powder pistols and rifles and everything, it takes a toll on their ventilation system. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and put 6 new rounds in there, 6 more wads, 6 more bullets, 6 more primers. Take 6 more shots at a new target. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a flyer. Gotta have a flyer in every group. Anyways, I think I'm gonna load up one more and take a shot at my 100-yard target. All right, I went ahead and loaded 2 rounds in there, and I'm gonna give a try at my 100-yard steel target up there, see if I can't make that thing ring from here. It's kind of a heavy bullet, kind of low power, and a long distance. Let's see what we can do. Nope, just 2 shots. Didn't hit it with either one. Not really meant for 100-yard shooting, but the rifles, the black powder rifles will do it. All right, I'm bound and determined to ring that steel target. Let's see if we can't give it a try from 50 yards. "50 yards, the sight seemed to be pretty much dead on. I was probably shooting completely over the target when I was shooting at 100 yards. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at Pietta's version of the Remington 1858. It is a stainless steel black powder revolver that 160 years ago was cutting edge technology. Used in the Civil War and the Old West frontier, it was a perfect option back then. Today, it's a good option for cowboy action shooting or just getting out there and enjoying some black powder firearms. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and hit the subscription if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I release a new video. And thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.